Carbohydrates, glycogen, glycogen, carbohydrates, carbohydrates, glycogen. These are the things that we're going to talk about on this episode of Caroline's Journey to the Great World Race. Actually, it's not another episode of anything. It's just me chit-chatting about all the things that I'm learning as I am preparing to run the Great World Race in November of 2026. My name is Caroline Drury. I'm the founder of the Beyond Before and After fitness app for women. I'm also the co-founder of MacroPath, the AI app that just tells you what to eat. It plans and logs your macros for you. Carbohydrates are one of the most important macros because there's only 3, so they're all important. Oh wait, 4 if you count coffee. I got a question from one of you wonderful ladies out there, and there's lots of men watching too, I found out. Welcome. Asking if I could just talk more about glycogen. And I thought, wow, love it. Carbohydrates is like one of my favorite things to talk about. And that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Glycogen, carbohydrates, because often people will think that they're 2 separate things. Carbohydrates is a macronutrient. We have protein, carbs, and fat. Carbs are the energy source. That's one of the building blocks of our food. Glycogen is the digested carbohydrates that get stored in our body for later use. In the most general terms, we store energy in our bodies as glycogen. Your body will store glycogen in its muscles and in the liver. And then we store energy as fat. If you like metaphors, if you have a super high performance car, and let's think of it more like a hybrid car. So you have a super high performance hybrid car that has a really big gas tank, a hefty gas tank to store a lot of energy for a long time. That's fat. That's the fat energy source. But if you've got a super high powered car with an incredible battery that is the spark and it can go for a good long while, that's the glycogen. So just like those hybrid cars, how there's 2 ways to have energy sources, gasoline and battery power, that's your body. Let's talk about where the glycogen is stored. I mentioned that the glycogen will store itself in our muscles and in our liver. The liver stores glycogen mainly for use to stabilize our blood sugar and for our brain. Crazy, right? It's incredible. The body's systems are just magical. The muscles, this is a little bit more of like a selfish storage. The muscle will take it and store it there for when it needs it for its use. So what is the storage process? When you eat carbohydrates, those carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. It's like the most simple form of the carbohydrate. Your body then uses insulin to pack that glucose into your muscles and liver to store it as glycogen. Now let's talk about when your body primarily is going to use that stored glycogen. Overnight, number 1. Again, speaking in the most general terms, the glycogen stored in your liver is going to be used a lot overnight to keep your blood sugar stable and also to keep your organs functioning. Your brain functioning during training is when the next storage unit gets used most predominantly. That's the stored glycogen in your muscles. So when you start running, when you start strength training, it's going to tap into that stored glycogen to power itself. That's why if you're not eating enough, or if you are under carbing, you are going to feel like your legs are dead. You know, when you start running, your legs feel like dead weights. That generally is not a training problem. It often is a fuel problem. Or if you have been overtraining, because when you're constantly depleting that energy store, not recovering enough, you're just constantly depleting the glycogen stores. And so your body would just keep using what it has. So the muscle storage, this is a really big reason why runners need to strength train, because the more lean muscle mass you have, the more carbohydrates you can store. And the great thing about having more lean muscle to store more glycogen is that you can train your body over time to store more glycogen in that muscle. This is the concept of carb loading. You might have heard eat pasta the night before a big run. Well, it's not just about eating pasta. We want to train the body over time to store more glycogen in our muscles so we can use them during our runs. There is a strategic 24 to 48 hours before a really long run or a race where you do want to get an increased amount of carbs to help your body store up its glycogen stores in your muscles. In practice over time with consistency, the body learns. And it's really around this concept of metabolic flexibility, because when you eat normally, the body's like, yeah, I'll store enough for now, I'll store enough for later. But then when you increase the carbs over time, it starts to understand, store it as glycogen. So it's not about just eating the pasta the night before. Another strategy that you might be able to learn from. Whenever I eat a really big meal at night, I sleep like garbage. And then whenever I would go to carb load and have a big pasta dinner, I'd sleep like garbage and I'd feel awful for my long run or my race. So I decided I can actually spread this out during the day. So it doesn't have to be just about a pasta dinner. For me, I actually like to do my carb loading throughout the day. So throughout the day, I give my body more carbs, again, before a really long run or a race, so that I'm not back end loading to dinner, because I want to make sure that I can sleep well. So that's just another strategy to deploy, because a lot of people just feel awful if they just eat a huge pasta dinner. It's not the carbs. You often will blame the carbs, like, oh, it's too many carbs. Well, it's actually just too much at once. So that's my strategy. I like to spread it out. Now, what are the best foods to eat to optimize for both performance and storage? So we want a mix of slow release carbs to keep the battery steady, the energy level steady. But we also want some fast digesting carbs to top off those storage houses to replenish what we've used right before a run and right after. For ultimate storage, we want more complex carbohydrate. These are going to help you have longer term energy. Sweet potatoes, red potatoes with the skin. These are amazing. Oats, steel cut or rolled, whatever you like. These are the ultimate slow burn, especially for a morning runner. I live for my morning oatmeal. Love it. Love it pre-run about an hour before. Quinoa and brown rice. I'm going to recommend these, but I'm also going to put a huge asterisk beside them. Boop, boop. They are not for everyone because of the high fiber content. It can be really disruptive to people's digestive systems. That's why you got to practice this. You can also look at berries and stone fruits, but berries and stone fruits I really like to actually put with oatmeal. Or some people that can tolerate it like to put it with warm quinoa. And there are many others I haven't even named. So you got to play around. You got to try these things out. And we need the express delivery fuel. These are your more simple carbohydrates. Bananas, like the gold standard for runners. Dates, super quick energy source. White rice, bagels, bread, raw honey, maple syrup. Ideally, you want to have a mix of the slow and the fast release carbohydrates. The timing of when to eat these carbohydrates, I'm going to give you the rules of thumb, but again, for everyone, there is an optimized time and you're going to have to play with it a little bit. 60 to 90 minutes before you run, awesome. I like to have oatmeal with maple syrup and I put some berries in it, incredible. After a run, I try to get carbohydrates and protein, but carbohydrates back into my body as fast as possible. So immediately post-run, I have a bagel with butter and jam, because that's what my stomach can tolerate immediately after a run. A lot of people are like, I can't eat immediately after because my stomach's a little upset. You got to play with it, because if we don't get carbohydrates back into our bodies to be stored as glycogen within that 45 to 60 minutes, I like to do it right away. But if we don't respect that window, your next run is going to suffer. So our post-run food is actually preparing us for the next run. So just remember, 60 minutes on either side, that's kind of the window, before and after. And working even backwards, the day before, you are going to want to top up your glycogen stores. You're going to want to eat a little bit more carbohydrates the day before. How much carbohydrates should you have? I've found more and more this to be much more personalized than a lot of online charts will give you. I've tried the standard charts going up to, for my height and weight, I'm 5'6", 135 to 38 pounds. Some charts will put me at having like 600 grams of carbs the day before. I've tried that, too much. I've tried doing 3-day carb loads at eating 300 to 400 grams of carbs for 3 days. By the third day, I just don't feel great. So I've now found that 2 days of 400 grams of carbs-ish, that will pretty much make me feel great for an extra long run. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Caroline, when I have that many carbs, though, I just feel heavy. Like I feel, ugh. For every 1 gram of glycogen that your body stores, it will also store 3 to 4 grams of water with it. That heavy feeling that you experience is just the water weight. But going back to what I said a few minutes ago about training the body, I found that over time, the body learns an optimal amount of water to store. My weight used to go up like 4 pounds after a carb load. So I'd wake up in the morning at like 4 pounds heavier just because of the water weight. That's down to like 2 pounds now because my body is understanding that it doesn't have to store as much water with the carbs because it's just very efficient at using them now. But again, that's just me. That might not be everybody. But I just want to say, if you have that heavy feeling, just keep practicing the carb loading. Keep finding what foods work for you, because it can also be dependent on the foods. Often when we have more carbs, you're going to also be eating a ton more salt with that too. That's also going to store more water in your body. I hope this has helped. If we want to train like athletes, we got to eat like them too. Because suffering through a workout, having low energy, but doing it anyway, but that's not a badge of honor. That's a system out of alignment. And we want to feel good when we're training, because if it's going to be hard because we're building the endurance, we're going towards the athletic endeavor, and it's just our body adapting to the training load, awesome. That's one thing. But having constant lethargy and powering through and gritting it through, that's not fun. We want to optimize. So keep building that muscle, build the muscle to build the tank, and then you eat the carbohydrates to fill the tank. Let me know in the comments if you have any more questions. Have you ever had the experience of just running out of fuel during a run? I know that I have. I hope something I've said here has helped you. I hope you continue to follow my journey to the Great World Race and how I managed to eat all the carbohydrates in between running 7 marathons in 7 days. Time will tell. Have a great day. Time will tell. Have a great day.